one of the reasons that I even wanted to start this business was because I wanted to show my kids that they didn't have to be chained to a position that they didn't want, that they really genuinely could go do whatever they wanted to do.
You're listening to the Profit by Design podcast, episode 35. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question: what has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, the author of How to Hire the Best, and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host, Mike Bruno, and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. Hey, Profit Designers. Today's episode is a really fun episode. We have Danielle Hayden back with us from Kickstart Accounting, and we're going to have a special Mother's Day edition of the podcast. Before we get into the topic, though, today, I want to tell you, be sure to hang in there to the end. She has a special offer for us Profit Designers, and we almost forgot to get it in there, but we got it in at the end. Hey, Profit Designers, are you working on a 4-week vacation? If so, you need to check out my 4-week vacation jumpstart guide. I have compiled the initial steps that you need to take to get your business and your mind moving in the direction of how to get your business to support your life and not the other way around. You can get that at 4weekvacation.com. So Danielle, you and I get to have a conversation today about, this is our special Mother's Day edition of the Profit by Design podcast. And you've been on previously, and it was an episode that we've had a lot of conversation in our Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. You struck a chord with our listeners about the importance of good bookkeeping and just really knowing the numbers in your business. And what impressed Mike and I so much about what you shared is that you really want to help your clients. You really want them to succeed. I mean, you're dedicated to what you're doing and to educating others. And when we had our first conversation with you, one of the topics that we threw out that we wanted to get into in that episode is the intersection of motherhood and business. And we just had so much other good stuff to talk about. We didn't get to it, which, when I thought about it, well, Mother's Day is coming up. Let me have Danielle come back on the show and we can get into this further.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you thought of that. Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. So Danielle, let's talk a little bit about what the journey has been like. And I'm going to share my experience too as we go through here. What has the journey been like for you as a mother running a successful business?
Yeah. So, I think as most entrepreneurs can relate to, running a business is really hard, right? You wear so many hats and you learn so much, right? We all came into running a business with probably one expertise, right? We were really good at that one thing and we wanted to share that thing with the world. And so we created a business around it, but it doesn't mean that we knew the rest of the things that you needed to know to run a business. So I always say kudos to all entrepreneurs for taking on that feat. But for me, one of the reasons that I even wanted to start this business was because I wanted to show my kids that they didn't have to be chained to a position that they didn't want, that they really genuinely could go do whatever they wanted to do. I know a lot of people say that, go be happy, do whatever you want to do. But I wanted to lead from example and showing them when you have an idea, you need to take action and you need to be action oriented and move forward and don't get scared and don't get put in planning paralysis. So I really wanted to show them that example. And so, being a mother and an entrepreneur, makes things that much more difficult and that much more fun, right? And that much more meaningful. And
I love that. Difficult and fun. That kind of sums up my life. I totally resonate with that.
Yeah.
But the other piece that really what you're saying about you wanted to role model for them and lead by example, that you don't have to be doing something that doesn't give you joy. You don't have to get stuck in analysis paralysis. like just what your kids are experiencing by watching what you're doing, I think you're probably giving them a huge leg up in life from this.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. And I think, it's really fun as I've watched my kids grow up in this business. So we started 5 years ago, and my daughter is approaching her teenage years, and my son will be turning 10 here. And so, they were pretty young when I started. And so it's fun as they've gotten older. My daughter is starting to look for a job, and she's going, well, what can I help you with, Mom? Can I help with some filing? Now that we're launching this book, she goes, well, I can help you with packaging. And it's, really fun for me to be able to include them in the business as they've gotten older. So before it was helping them understand why I had to leave, right? I have to leave you guys to go build this business. I have to leave to go do a networking event or go speak somewhere or travel. And so before it used to be something where I had to be gone for, and now I get to include them in that. And that's been a really fun experience too.
Boy, absolutely. I relate to that because I used to talk, the way I've changed how I talk about my business and my responsibilities to my business with my kids, because I used to feel guilty for working after school when they're home. And I used to feel guilty for having to leave to go to a conference and they would be there without me and, oh, it's awful, whatever. And the other day, actually, my daughter was telling me, because I am that mom who picks my kids up at exactly 3:00, which is the very last moment before they have to go to after school. And, the $25 an hour per child kicks in and whatever, the huge penalties. So, and her teacher kind of teases her. She's like, yeah, your mom is 2:59. Is your mom going to be here? And I said, you know what? Let me just give you another way to think about this. And I work about 25 hours a week. I work while they're in school. And for the most part, there's times where it doesn't always work out perfectly that way. I cram a heck of a lot into those 25 hours a week. And so from the moment I drop them off to the time I pick them up, I am producing and I'm doing something that's important for the business. And I said, and do you know most parents have to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And their kids do go to after school, and their kids do have to have, they don't get their mom at home. You get your mom at home. And yes, there are times that I work late, but let's be realistic. When I'm working late, I'm working to 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. And that only happens, a few times a year that I'm doing that. And so just helping them to own that this is a privilege. This is the business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we talk about what has your business done for you lately. It is a privilege to have a mom who works at home. And yes, I might be working while you're watching a movie or playing outside, but I'm here with you. That's a privilege. So for me, that's been a huge shift in letting go of some of that mom business owner guilt. I think that we all
I think you make a really good point there because, I don't always stop when they get home. But I'm here, right? I'm in my office. I have a dedicated space. Go do your own, yell when you need something. Don't cook anything.
All if you're bleeding.
Yeah. But you're right. I get to be here. And I think that mom guilt for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's real and it exists. And I think that you made a really good point about how productive you are when they're gone. And so that is something that I am really, really intentional about now is when they are gone, when it is time to focus, when I am ready to sit down at my desk, it is time to focus. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not checking out Facebook. I'm not, dilly-dallying with all the other things that you can be doing. I turn off my email. I turn off my notifications and I get my work done. And then when it is time to go to dinner or have dinner or go to baseball practice, I put my phone down and I really try to be present at those moments too. And my kids know, look, a client calls, I'm going to take it. Yesterday, my daughter and I were walking through the park while my son was at practice, and I took 2 calls and she was good about it. I put it on speaker and she got to listen to the call too. She learned a little bit about accounting. And when I got the phone, I said, okay, now you have my attention. Sorry about that. Thank you for participating with me. Now let's walk and chit chat. And it's not a big deal. Get rid of the guilt.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've really struggled with, Danielle, and I don't know, you might have this issue too, maybe you can help me with it, is I really do want to be present with my kids. when we're at activities, when we're out and about, when I'm sitting at the pool with them, wherever. But also, I want to be able to keep things moving in my business. So I will, we have Slack that we use for our team communication. Sometimes I know something is needed from me. I'll go on Slack. And my kids will say, but Mom, you're not supposed to be on your phone when you're with us. And at first I had mom guilt for that. And lately I've reframed that as, when I'm going to be on my phone to handle work business, I'm going to be intentional about it. You're going to know, and I'm going to give you a specified period of time that you're going to need to entertain yourself. And then when I'm done with that, I want you to know you have my full focused attention. And that's that piece of just being able to say to them, you're going to have my full focused attention, really helps me kind of keep those boundaries in place, but not be rigid with them, but have more fluid boundaries that work more for me in the way I run my business and the way I'm going to feel happy.
Yeah. Well, I do agree with you. And there are times that, like I said, yesterday, I took the calls and then I said, now you have my attention. What I do try to do is when I am with them, I don't do any busy work on my phone, right? They don't know if I'm on my phone because I'm scrolling Facebook or participating in Facebook groups, or if I'm on my phone responding to a real email, right, a real crisis, a real communication from one of my team members. So during that time, I try to make sure that all of the work that I'm doing, intentional work, and I explain to them, at the end of the day, I am a business owner, guys, and I want to give my clients the best possible service. And I want the people who work for our firm, I want them to know that I'm there for them, that they're not alone, that if they have questions and they need me, that I'm there to help answer their questions. They are not on an island. They all work remotely, so they need to know that they have access to me. And in order for me to be able to create that culture for both my clients and my team, sometimes I have to be on the phone. I'm really lucky right now that my kids are getting older, that I'm able to explain to them, look, this is part of being a business owner. And here's why I need to do this. Here is what I'm trying to accomplish by doing these things. And that way they're able to know. My daughter talks a lot about wanting to open up her own hair salon one day. And I think that that's beyond cool that she wants to be an entrepreneur. And so I think it's important for her to know that you might not get to clock out at 5:00 from your hair salon that you're going to open, and you'll have to be there for your team. And it's okay to know that when you are trying to do the best possible job, that you might have to put in extra time, and that's okay.
Such a good message that, you don't get to when you own a business, you don't get to clock in and clock out a certain day and turn it off and just say, oh, my job is over for the day. It's always there. And you're showing how to navigate that, but you're also showing what I value is good client service. And because I value good client service, we're going to go the extra mile. We're not just going to not respond. The other piece, though, is about your daughter wanting to have her own business and that she's seen entrepreneurship firsthand. In my coaching, I've had clients at all different levels of the spectrum with respect to, do their kids want to go in business because of how they've seen their parents' business. And I've had clients who have businesses and their kids say, I don't want anything to do with owning my own business because I see how mom and dad suffer. And then, and that's not good either. That when we show our kids that the business consumes our life, of course, they're not going to want to have a business. They don't want to live that way. So finding a way to show that business can support life and it doesn't have to be the other way around.
Yes. Yeah. Really I think you make a good point. And it's funny, when I look at my own childhood, neither one of my parents owned a business. They both worked. Well, I guess my mom did have a home daycare for a long time. So she was home with us, and then she had a 9-to-5 position. And my dad always worked in management. So it wasn't something that I was raised with and raised in. So I think it's interesting that some of us can be raised as non-entrepreneurs, but really catch that entrepreneur bug. And other people can be raised in entrepreneurship and say, wow, this isn't for me. But I think that as parents who are entrepreneurs, we have a responsibility to run a more profitable business, which I think both of us can appreciate. And the reason I say that is because if your kids are watching you flounder in business, they don't get to take a vacation. They don't get to, we don't need all nice new things, but if they're really making a lot of sacrifices because your business isn't able to create the profits that support your family, they're going to feel resentful towards that business. Whereas as parents, if we can create a business that is profitable and thriving and something that's able to support our family, they're going to have better feelings about that type of business.
Yeah. And I'm going to get a little personal here about my own aha moments when I realized I have to make my business profitable. I can't just run it because, I want to be nice for people. And I'm divorced. And so it was the point where I knew in my head I was going to have to leave. And then I started looking and trying to figure out financially how I was going to make that work. And I started thinking through, because I'm a very logical planner, like, okay, if I'm going to leave, then, and I had this plan, but it was like a 2-year plan. And that's not viable at that point. But just looking at the amount of money, the extra money that I'd be able to put aside to make that happen, I didn't have it there in my business. It was not there. And when I started implementing the Profit First system is when I really saw, oh, now I can make it happen. And it's because of that I have been able to, I don't know that getting divorced is ever a situation that you thrive in, but I was able to navigate, like for a long time, I had to carry 2 mortgages because we couldn't get the other house sold. And if I didn't have a profitable business, that would have been crazy. And I also want to say in that, when it got down to the wire after, I think it was like 14 months that the other house had been on the market, I was scrambling to figure out, how do we get through one more month? Because if we could just get one more month, maybe we can get that house sold. But I did not have the anxiety of laying awake at night worrying if my business could pay me. And that is a huge, just to be able to take that off the table of, I don't have to worry about my business paying me. I know the business can pay me and I can count on this amount of income going forward. I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't have that. When their business isn't profitable, you have that anxiety, whatever else is going on in life. Life presents us all kinds of challenges, but on top of all those other life challenges, you're laying awake at night worrying about money.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you shared that story because I have a story on the flip side. So when I started the business, I was a single mother and I had a rental home that was our old house that needed to be cared for and rented and paid for. We had moved and we were relying on my income 100% solely. And so I knew from the day that we started this business that I needed to make sure that I ran a profitable business. And because we run a bookkeeping firm, I was able to take the techniques that I was teaching my clients on how to analyze their financial statements, how to learn, who are their clients, how do they attract their clients, what products are they selling the most of, how to make the most profit out of each product or each service that you sell. And really being able to take all of those techniques of financial analysis and use it in my business and say, all right, what services can I offer that create a profitable business? What type of staffing decisions can I make? What type of expenses can I incur? And what needs to be able to be cut in order to create that profitable business? Because I knew that I needed to be able to support my kids, and I didn't want to go back to a corporate life. I was driving 45 minutes each direction. I think the lowest moment I had was I finally left work early one day and I sat in traffic and I finally got to the aftercare for my daughter. And I walked in and the woman goes, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm going to need you to go get your ID. I've never seen you before," because I never picked her up. My mom and the grandparents had always picked her up. So that was the moment for me in my corporate life that I knew that I wanted to create this business. I knew I wanted to be there for my kids. I knew I wanted to help entrepreneurs. And that was really the birth of our accounting firm. But, it really kind of hits home why you need to have a profitable business, because I wanted to make sure that I could be there for those moments and never have to have somebody ID me for my kids.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally relate to that. And when I started my business, it was the point where my first daughter was born. And I always joke, I don't ever recommend that you start a business and have your first child all at the same time. Like that's just,
I hear it all the time.
Insanity. But I did it for the same reason, because I had a full-time job and I also was on call. And so I would get called out over the weekends or at midnight or 3 a.m. and then have to go to work, Monday through Friday on top of that and work long hours. And I thought, there is no way that I will have anything left over to give to my kids if I have this kind of schedule. And so that for me was when I started my business. And I also got very clear on, I don't want to have a business that consumes me. My business has to be here for my life. And I think over the years, it has been very challenging for me to run a growing business, fine it to about 25 hours a week, because I'm a go-getter. I really, I see things and I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And to say, no, I can't. If I do that, then things are going to spill over and it's going to get messy. And sometimes it has. I kind of had to feel the pain of that to be able to rein it back in. But it has made me so much more effective. Just like what you were saying earlier about you have this amount of time. There's no time for getting on Facebook or Instagram and piddling around. It's all about, stay focused. And I think that's when you and I started talking, what we want to be modeling for our kids and what we want them to learn from this experience with us, teaching them when something is important to us, we focus on it. And we prioritize around those focuses in our business.
Yeah. And example to them, a successful business. I want them to want entrepreneurship. I want them to see what we're doing and say, I want that. And in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to run a profitable business where you're excited to run it. And that does not mean no challenges, right? That actually probably means a lot of challenges. Right now I'm feeling a lot of pain in my business because we've been a service-based business for the last 5 years. And now we're offering this product, and it is learning how to run a whole new business. And it's been interesting to learn how to do that. And to still be able to example an excitement in that to my family and get them involved.
That is hard. I mean, we're a service-based business too. And I have a book and I have a course, and that it really is understanding that those are two different business models and how to blend them successfully. And I haven't done it well. My focus is our coaching business, and the products that we have are great, and they're there really to support our clients. And I have not been able to really leverage just because I don't have the bandwidth. And so that I think is a challenge. And I think so many times people think, well, I'm going to write a book or I'm going to create this online course and it's going to go great and I don't have to do anything for it. You have to have a whole business around it, and you have to have a whole support team around that, and be ready.
You're launching a whole other product.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to learn. Yeah, you have to learn all new systems and a whole new way of doing things, and really embrace those challenges. And I know my mom's going to laugh when she listens to this podcast, because I called her this week. I'm like, I started a whole nother business by creating this product, and I have to learn a whole new set of systems. And she was just thinking of it as a fun challenge.
Yeah. Well, and you were telling me as we were starting to record, you are off to a conference. Is it Moms in Business?
It's Business Among Moms.
Business Among Moms. Now, I've never heard of this. So what kind of conference is this?
Yes, this is out in Seattle. It is ran by an amazing woman, Julie Fry. It starts on Thursday night and goes through Saturday. She has a lineup of speakers all day on Friday, and then an option to stay on Saturday for an implementation day. Super excited. We're starting on Thursday night with a networking night where I'm actually sponsoring the wine and hors d'oeuvres for the evening. And then Friday, there's a nice little party after the conference. So I'm very excited. I actually have not been to Seattle, so I'm super excited to see Seattle and get to see all these amazing women entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So you're going there and you're bringing your profit planner, right? So that's what I want to go there in our conversation too.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're doing with the profit planner there, but then also tell us about your profit planner.
So I am actually bringing the profit planner with me to Business Among Moms. Anybody who signed up for the VIP package will actually be gifted a copy of the profit planner. So excited to get these into the hands of these women, creating a Facebook group and feedback system so that I can get all of these women together and give them tips and tricks on how to use this planner. So for anybody that's going out to Business Among Moms, if they get that VIP ticket, they will receive a copy of the Profit Planner. For anybody who is not part of that, this is the day that I am launching the Profit Planner book. Super excited about this. This is really kind of baby brain project from running this bookkeeping firm for the last several years. I really took all of the lessons that I've learned from my clients and took all the questions that I get from our clients and packaged them into a book that they can use to take action steps. I know how confusing accounting can be for any entrepreneur, whether you are a client of mine or you have a bookkeeper. Accounting is confusing. Financial analysis, it's confusing. It's a world of its own. And so we wanted to create a tool for entrepreneurs to use where every week has a goal and every day has an actionable task that will help them achieve that week's goal. The book that is currently launching here on May 16th is setting the foundations for financial analysis. So it's making sure that you have the processes and the current systems set up in order to be able to create a profitable business. So series 1 will help you create those foundations, and then there'll be 3 additional series coming out to follow that will build on one another. Series 2 will walk entrepreneurs step by step on how to analyze their financials, take that information and put it into action. Book 3 will teach entrepreneurs how to create a budget. And then series 4 is going to be maintenance. What financial analysis do I need to do on a regular basis to remain profitable? Because once we learn these lessons once, you can't just say, I learned, I know my business, right? I'm done, check. So you need to continue to build upon that, and you need to continue to monitor your business.
Wow. I am so pumped about this because you shared with me an excerpt from the book and it blew me away. Just the level of teaching that's packed into the book, but the way you've laid it out so it's not overwhelming. Like you take one section at a time and apply it to a certain time period, and then you plan around that. And for profit designers, I know so many of you are pumpkin planners. And I was talking to Danielle before we started recording. I said, have you read the pumpkin plan? Because I really see a lot of pumpkin planning woven in here. And so what I love about what you're doing is it's designed for a quarterly system, right? So series 1, or the first part in the series, is for a quarter. And then you complete that, and then you can go on to Q2 and Q3. And then as you're doing that, without really knowing it, you are becoming really wise about your accounting and your business, right?
Oh, yeah. You're becoming really intimate with your business. And, for all the moms that are listening, it's going to give you the confidence that you couldn't even imagine to be able to speak about your business. I mean, for all entrepreneurs, I know I talk to a lot of women who will say, I have a business. I'm kind of selling a few items. And then I look at their financials. I'm like, honey, you're running a 6-figure business. You have a business. So, it's going to walk you through the steps without being overwhelming, because there's one action step for each day to get you to each week's goal. And so it's not overwhelming. It teaches you one step at a time. It has the building blocks to give you the confidence to become really profitable in your business.
Yeah. Well, and Mike and I on the Profit by Design podcast are all about small steps forward taken in a consistent direction lead to big change over time. So taking yourself through the profit planner over the course of, 1 quarter, but if you go on and do the next quarters at the end of a year, it's going to be phenomenal for your confidence in your numbers and knowing what you need to be paying attention to in your business. And for myself, I was in business years before I really understood what I need to be paying attention to in my numbers and my business. I think it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And I got some financial advice because I was making all this money. Once you're over 6 figures, your financial advisors kind of look at you and go like, you're making a lot of money. You need to start putting it here and putting it here. And so I had no guidance as to what I was supposed to be doing with the money in my business. So I thought I was making wise financial decisions. But meanwhile, I was struggling, with cash flow again in the business. So I love what you're teaching here with the Profit Planner. And The other piece that I just want to clarify, even though this is the Mother's Day edition of the Profit by Design podcast, the Profit Planner does not say the mom's profit planner. It's for any business owner, right?
It's everybody. Yes, it is for everyone. And, we designed this really intentionally because it's not just for women. It is a very professional, sleek, black in color planner that can be carried around with you as your business diary, whether you're a man or a woman. We really wanted to make it something that was compact, that could be used no matter where you go. So yes, this planner is for every entrepreneur out there. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So when someone is using the Profit Planner, maybe like a few weeks in, what's going to be different for them within just a few weeks of using the Profit Planner?
Every week they're going to become more confident in understanding their business. And I keep on using the word confidence because that's really the feeling that I want people to walk away with, that every week they've learned, they've dialed into their business. Sometimes we're so busy doing all the things of our business, we're trying to get clients and we're working our business, that we forget to step back and say, let me analyze my business. Let me sit back as the CEO. What am I doing? How am I doing? What's working well today? What's not working? What changes need to be made? And then how can I do those things better, different, and continue to improve? So the planner, a few weeks in, you will start to have more ideas flowing on how to change those processes, really dig into emotionally what's working, what's not working in your business, and have guidance on how to move forward. Because I know a lot of people get overwhelmed with, okay, no, that's not working. But then as you continue to follow along, it'll teach you what to continue to do in order to get over those humps, to get through that, to create a more profitable business.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So on the last time you were with us in our previous episode, it's a few back, and we'll link to it in the show notes. One of the really good conversations that we got into is sometimes we're not good clients with our accountants and bookkeepers as entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. We do things that undermine their ability to be effective for us. So how does a tool like the Profit Planner support us entrepreneurs in utilizing our bookkeepers and accountants more effectively?
Yeah, I'm really glad that you asked that. So this planner can also be a tool to help you be a better client or your bookkeeper, because there are places in the planner that we talk about. If this is how to perform the step if you are doing the bookkeeping on your own, and here's how to perform the step if you are working with a bookkeeper currently. Here's the question to ask your bookkeeper for them to be able to give you the information. And the other piece of this is, as an entrepreneur, it gives you a regular exercise to do. So every morning, I do the planner every day. And so I make that as part of my morning routine. And so it's the first thing I do when I sit down in my business. I say, what is my goal? Why am I doing this business? What do I need to focus on in order to achieve that goal? And I write that down in the planner every day. And then there's a space in the planner for your top 3 tasks. So it helps you as an entrepreneur set what are my top 3 tasks for today in order to help me achieve this goal. And then there's room to perform the task that is assigned to you for the day. Now, keep in mind, if you don't do that task for today because you got busy after you set your goals and your tasks, it's a book. You can go back and you can do yesterday's tasks, and you can help your bookkeeper help you. So at the end of the week, if you're unsure, you can ask your bookkeeper those questions and you can get them that information, and they can get that information back to you.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I want to shift a little bit here, but before I do, tell everyone how they can get a hold of the Profit Planner.
Yes. So our website is profitplannerbookkeeping.com. You can also reach us on Facebook, Profit Planner LLC. We're on Instagram, Profit Planner Bookkeeping. So we'll stay on all the social media channels, and here to answer any questions. Or first 7 days of the planner are also available for download on the website. So if you're intrigued and you want to dip your toe in, you can download those first 7 days.
Yeah. And I've taken a peek. That is a very nice download. So Good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So it occurs to me that here we are. It's the Mother's Day edition. We have two moms who I really enjoy money. I think I have a healthier relationship with money now. I enjoy it. And you do too. And I know from some of the things that you shared on our previous interview with you that you have you've given thought to what you are teaching your kids about money. So I think that is an area that can be very interesting for us to talk about is, as an accountant and bookkeeper, what are you teaching your children about money? And what are some things that maybe you started out doing with your kids around money that you changed and you're doing differently now?
I love this question. There was a time that we didn't have a lot of money, and I would always say things to the kids like, we can't afford to do that. We can't afford to go on vacation. We can't afford to buy this toy, this new thing that you want. We can't afford to go to this place. Now, as we've built this business, I have changed the way that I speak to the kids, because although we might be able to afford it, I may choose to not spend my money on that item. And so I always tell the kids, if they say, well, we can't afford that, I said, no. It's not whether or not we can't afford it or not. It is that we are going to choose whether or not we want to spend our money on that. And we are going to remember that we have a monthly budget for how much we are going to spend on entertainment, how much we're going to spend on our house, our savings, our vacation savings. We're going to be really diligent with how we are earning money and what we are doing with that money. And then we're going to look at that entertainment bucket, guys, and we're going to say, do we choose to spend our money here? And I think that changing that word to I can't afford, that's a money mindset issue for you and a recipe for them to think that they can't afford things in the future.
Well, and then they live in feeling deprived. That's a scarcity mindset that we unintentionally can pass on to our children around that. One of the things that I have done differently is when my business started being successful and where I had excess, or not excess, but additional money at my discretion, I had heard from another coach that as a woman entrepreneur, you need to get help around the house so that you can spend more time focused on your business. And so I went out and hired a housekeeper. And it was great. I loved having someone come once a week and clean. It was wonderful. But I stopped it after about a year because I heard my daughter saying, I'm not going to clean up my room. The housekeeper will do it. I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that because we have the housekeeper who'll do it. And I thought, oh, no, honey. We're not going to learn that lesson in life. So what I told her is, you know what? I'm going to stop paying for the housekeeper, and we're going to put that extra money into a vacation fund so we can go have fun and enjoy things that we might not do otherwise on vacation. And we're all going to work together to clean the house. And so now everyone has chores, and so to me, it became more important about teaching responsibility than the ease of having someone come and clean the house for us. But the other thing that I've also been very aware of is if I make things too easy for my children, then they grow up thinking that it's easy to get things. So with business success comes the opportunity to have things that we might not have otherwise. So we have pecan trees. I live in Louisiana. We have lots of pecan trees. And every year we pick up the pecans and sell them. And this past year, it's hard work to get out there and pick up pecans. And I'm certainly not doing it for the money because there's not much money in picking up pecans. But I'm doing it with my kids because it's a way for them to start earning money. And this past year, I thought, let's have some real clear intention, and kind of like what you're saying about being intentional with your choice. Let's have some real clear intention around this. So we decided we would take a trip to New Orleans for Christmas, and we earned the money through selling pecans to take that family trip for Christmas. And then we had some money left over, and it was a very good pecan year. It's not usually that good. We had some money left over.
Say, wow. Okay. Yeah. Those are quite the pecan tree.
Yeah, we have a lot of pecan trees here. So they've been wanting a rabbit. And so rather than me saying, oh yeah, I'll go buy you a rabbit, I said, let's use the extra money and then we'll put that towards the rabbit that you guys want. So I've really I don't believe in doing an allowance with them because, nobody just comes up to you and gives you money for existing.
Yeah, we don't do an allowance either.
No.
No.
So, and they get the opportunities to earn money from doing different things. And then when they want to buy something, sometimes, if they want something, I'll just say, yeah, I'll get that for you. Other times I say, that wasn't something that I planned to get for you. Is it really important to you? Oh, yeah. Well, are you willing to spend your own money to get it?
Yeah. And that's key, teaching them the difference between a want and a need. And I hear both of my kids correcting themselves a lot now. Even my son will say, well, okay, I don't need it, but I really want it. I've had better success as my daughter has gotten older with saying, okay, there is that new thing that you want. Here are the tasks that I need your help on, and I will pay you for those tasks. And then you can choose whether or not you want to spend your money on that particular thing. And I think it's really funny that she'll do the tasks, I'll pay her, and then she won't buy the thing.
But don't you think that's sometimes what we all need is we need that space between I want this, but then it's going to take me a couple days to get it. And then in that space of time, we realize I didn't really want that. I want to use that money in a different way, or I'd rather save that money. It feels better to have it saved than to go spend it.
Yeah. But I really try to, and I'm lucky to be able to do this, to help the kids say, all right, how can you help me in the business, right? Can you help me in researching something or organizing documents or, things like that, where I'm able to include them in the business. They feel like they're helping to work towards this with me, and they're able to earn their own money and choose how they want to spend it and choose whether or not they're going to save it. And you're right, we've never done allowances because even if you vacuumed your room, made your bed, brushed your teeth, I'm still not paying you for those things.
Right. That's part of being a contributing member of a household.
Right. Exactly. And we did the same thing. We had a housekeeper and I said, this is really, really nice. And my son goes, so I'm not supposed to make a mess for her, right? She's just helping us out. And I'm thinking, oh no, we're done with this.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to help and everyone's going to contribute to this house. So we did the same thing.
Yeah. I think it's part of teaching work ethic, which, we've touched on that topic throughout this conversation about our kids just observing us as entrepreneurs. They're seeing real work ethic day in and day out, but also just teaching that you don't get paid for existing in life. You have to do something and contribute. And I love how you are looking for ways for your daughter to help you in the business. And my daughter is 12 going on 13 in a few months, and she's definitely old enough where she can do things. And the reason it has not transpired yet is I've been real clear with her. If I'm going to take the time to train you to do this, you're going to need to do it on an ongoing basis. And it's something that requires, like shipping out books. When somebody orders a book, you can't just decide a week from now you want to ship the book out. You need to ship it promptly because they're waiting for it. So helping her see that through, that has slowed down her interest in jumping in and helping out in the business. So, I'm currently looking for things. What are the one-off things that she could do that don't require ongoing commitment? Because I also believe that we have to help our kids balance their time and teach them don't overcommit. And I think that's something as entrepreneurs, maybe and moms, we may have a tendency towards is the overcommitting and being responsible people and then trying to fulfill all these commitments. So oh
my goodness. It's a joke around the house that I overbook us all the time. I need to start to learn to say no, and then check the calendar, but oh wait, no, I can't. Instead I say yes. And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And then how are we going to what magic am I going to pull here and make this happen? Yeah. And so that's been an ongoing conversation with my kids, because one of the things that I was real clear from the time that we started activities is no more than 2 activities per kid at any given time. And so whenever they want to start a new thing, it's always a discussion around, well, which of the 2 that you're already doing do you want to give up? Because I can't be running the roads constantly. That it sucks the life out of me to be going and sitting at one lesson after another. I'm not going to be a good mom to you if you make me do that. So 2 activities. So which are you going to do? So, and the same thing. Well, her in the business, I don't want her to overcommit to something and then not be able to see it through.
Yeah, I think you're right for doing that. I'm lucky that both my kids have been able to self-identify that they don't want to be overcommitted because they want to be able to do their homework and focus on their homework and get good grades. But I think that you're really smart too in knowing your energy.
Yeah.
Because, not a lot of us sit back and say, what can and can't I do? What do I enjoy doing? I mean, look, some people enjoy, taking their kids to different practices and really thrive on that. For me, I know that I can only do so many things. And so I have to know what brings me energy and what depletes my energy and really focus on the tasks that are going to bring me additional energy and know when I'm going to be doing too many tasks that are going to take all of my energy and limit how many of those I put together. Really learning how to adapt to life.
We actually had a conversation about this just last night because it was the school play. And I got texted in the middle of the day 2 or 3 days ago, can you help in the dressing rooms on the rehearsal night and on the play night? And the first year they had a school play and I helped out and I was at the door just checking kids in and out, I watched what went on in those dressing rooms with the little girls. And I said, that would suck the life right out of me if I had to be in the middle of that. And so, when I got that text, I was like, oh, seriously? You want me to do what? So I told my daughter, I said, okay, I'm going to help out in the dressing rooms. And I did. I went and I helped out. And it did. It totally sucked the life right out of me. But I also let her know, I said, I'm looking ahead at my day that's leading into that. And I'm looking at my day after that. And I have lots of things in those days that are going to give me energy and help me to replenish. So I'm going to do this because it's what's needed. And we have to, I'm just so mindful of whenever I'm making a decision that goes against something that I've told her that I'm never going to do this, to explain my reasoning so she doesn't see like, oh, she's just wishy-washy. And she's, she says one thing and does another a different day. So
yeah, and that's okay to learn to change your mind. I always tell the kids, things are going to change and learning to be fluid. And, this is kind of a funny one. I encourage them to debate. So if I say, no to something and I give my reason why, my son goes, I hear what you're saying, but can I tell you why I think that I should be allowed to do it? I said, okay, I'll hear you out. And he'll give his argument. I said, okay, the answer is still no, but I really appreciate you coming to me with a thoughtful reason why you should be allowed to do that. That's how you handle things. You don't whine, you don't cry, you don't get angry, you explain your position and you move on.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, Danielle, we want our kids, like I think for everything that you're saying, you're kind of thinking along the lines I do. I hope my daughter's an entrepreneur. I hope both of them are. But they may be employees somewhere someday first before they're entrepreneurs. And this is training our kids to be A players and, showing up and giving their absolute best in whatever they are choosing to do and learning, like you're just sharing, learning how to speak your mind. And sometimes you have to follow the rules as they're laid down, but being able to voice, hey, I have a different idea about this is important too. So this has been a really fun conversation that we've gotten to have today.
So I could go on forever about this. It's my two favorite things, right? My kids and entrepreneurship. I could go on all day.
Together. Yeah, it's been great. So as we go out today, remind everyone again how they can get a copy of your profit planner.
Yes, absolutely. The best place to go is the website, profitplannerbookkeeping.com. And I can't wait for our copy to get in everyone's hand. And please share your successes. And if you have any questions, always contact us. We're here to help. We really want this to help entrepreneurs, and we're here for you.
Awesome. Thank you. And I want to put out an invitation there for profit designers. I hope this conversation has gotten you thinking about how you're showing up as a parent. So it's not just for mothers, but how you're showing up as a parent and an entrepreneur. And if you want to leave us some feedback in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group, Danielle is in there. I'm in there. We would love to hear your thoughts on today's episode. What are you thinking about? Do you disagree with something we shared? Do you have a different way of doing it? Do you have your own experience that you want to share? Pop it in there. We want to hear from you. We would love to banter back and forth with you on this topic.
Yes, I love that because, not everyone agrees. And I want to hear other people's ideas and how they do it because there's so many of them out there, and let's share.
Yeah. And we can all learn from each other in doing so.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
I just wanted to extend to anybody in the Profit by Design community that if you wanted to get your hands on a planner, visit the website and use the Profit by Design discount code for 15% off.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So go to profitplanner.com and use
profitplannerbookkeeping.com.
profitplannerbookkeeping.com and use the code Profit by Design.
Yes. 15%
and save
off.
15% off. Wow. That's so generous. Awesome. Thanks, Danielle.
All right. Thanks, Sabrina. Have a good one.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. Share your thoughts on today's episode, ask us questions, and let us know what you want to hear about next. Visit our website at profitbydesignpodcast.com to access resources from our sponsors and tools we've created for you. Subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to right now. There's a subscribe button right there. Go ahead and hit it so that you always get a notification when we release a new episode. And finally, share our podcast with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. Thanks again for listening. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.